All right, we got an Accord that needs an oil change, but first, coffee. This is what we're working on today, a 10th generation Honda Accord. This is a 2019 LX model. All right, first thing we'll do is warm up the engine and apply the parking brake. Those things are already done, and we'll go ahead and pop the hood. All right, we'll just slide the hood latch over, lift this up, and we're going to be working on a 1.5 liter turbo today. All right, we'll chock the rear wheels, both of them. All right, now we'll go ahead and get this front end up in the air. All right, so for jack and jack stand placement, let's go ahead and look at some Honda service information. So if we look at this diagram right here, behind the front tire and in front of the rear tire, we have designated lift points. And of course, that's where we would use a 2-post lift or jack stands. And these locations have pretty much been there since the beginning of time on Honda. So that's nothing new. But in order to put our jack stands there, we need a place for our jacks. So let's scroll down under floor jack where the placement goes. And right here in the front, that's our designated lift point for a jack in the front, and the designated lift point for a jack in the rear would be over here. But of course on this vehicle, we're going to be putting the jack there and lifting it up in the air, and then we'll put our jack stands in place. All right, looking from the front of the vehicle, if we peek under here, our designated lift point for the jack is way over there. Now this thing is too low to get a jack in there and get it to that spot right there without hitting. It's going to hit here. Even a low profile jack, it's not long enough to get in there and clear this right here. So I'll show you what I do in situations like that. Now of course, if you don't want to use a jack and jack stands, we could always use ramps, drive the thing up onto ramps on the front end there and do the oil change that way. I'm not a huge fan of ramps. I don't own them, but that's always an option. This is the setup I use to get under there. I have a low profile long reach jack. Of course, you know, I can't get it under there until we lift this up a little bit. So what I do is I put the jack right there on our designated lift point. I lift the vehicle up just enough to where this jack will clear. I'll put the jack under there and then we'll lift the vehicle up normally. And then I can remove this jack and then put jack stands. That's how I normally do it. Now, what would I do if I only had one jack? Well, I would take the jack, put it on our designated lift spot there, lift the vehicle up, and then slide a block of wood under there, and then lower the vehicle back down on the block of wood. It doesn't have to be huge. We just need, you know, a couple inches of clearance. And then that's usually enough to take our jack and then get it under there to our designated lift spot. That's how I would do it if I didn't have two jacks set up like I do. All right, looking behind the tire right here, there is our designated lift point right here. So that's where I'm going to put the jack right now and get this thing up in the air. All right, so we just get the jack in place. And we'll just lift it up just a little bit. All right, now we should have enough clearance to get to our lift point right there. We just have to be cognizant of the fact that we're only lifting the vehicle up with a jack right now. So we need to make sure we keep fingers and other body parts out of pinch point areas. All right, now we can move this jack out of the way. All right, now we'll go ahead and put our jack stands in place. And of course, safety first. We're not going to put our fingers in pinch points. We're going to grab it from the side like this. We're going to get it into place just like that. And obviously we want it right under our designated lift point. And we want the jack far enough in there so that we're clear of the body here. We don't want it to be hitting the body. I'm not sure if the angle looks correct on the camera, but we're clear of the body right here, so we're not going to hit. And of course, we have a jack stand on this side and that side. I don't get under vehicles without jack stands on both sides. And we'll go ahead and lower it down slowly. And we always give it a little nudge. Make sure it's securely on those jack stands. All right, looking under the vehicle here, there's our oil pan, and there's the drain bolt for our oil right here. And if we come back over here, there is our oil filter. So typically on these newer vehicles, we're going to have covers everywhere. Now on this vehicle, we don't have a cover here, but we do have one kind of covering up our oil filter here. So we will have to get this cover off. Okay, to get this cover off, we have 3 little fasteners right here. Just going to use a flathead screwdriver. We're going to turn it like that, and they'll pop right out. Just like that. And the whole thing comes off. Now to drain the oil, of course, we're going to need some kind of 17mm either wrench or socket. In this case, I'm going to use a socket and a ratchet. And we need a drain pan. So there's the drain pan I'm going to use, and I have a little anti-splash pad in there that I made. All right, we'll get our drain pan close by. All right, so now, of course, we just need to loosen our drain bolt here. And just pop it loose. Get our drain pan in place, and we try not to make a mess and burn ourselves when we take this off. And careful, that's hot also. Not too big a mess. Now we'll just let that drain. And to help it along, we'll crack this loose. Now while that's draining, let's get things ready for reinstall. Now of course our old washer or gasket, we're going to be replacing that. We're not going to be reusing those. So we'll go ahead and clean this up. Find a clean spot on our rag here. And we will get our washer or gasket reinstalled. Now Honda taught me many years ago that there is a rounder spot and a perfectly machined flat spot. That perfectly machined flat spot is supposed to go on our mating surface onto the oil pan itself. Now there's a lot of controversy whether it should be flipped around like this, but like I said, that's the way Honda taught me. Now they've since removed that training and they don't teach that anymore, so I really don't think it matters, but that's the way I was taught and that's the way I'm going to continue doing it. But honestly, I've never seen a leak, so I don't think it really matters. There is your part number. I buy these things in bulk. You don't have to buy this many, but you will probably obviously at least need one because I recommend replacing it. I don't recommend reusing it. And we're going to need a new oil filter. So there's our genuine Honda oil filter that we're going to be using. I really don't pay too much attention to who makes these. I know Honeywell makes the Alpha 02 version, but that's the ones that I can get in bulk, and so that's what I buy. And to get that old oil filter off, I'm going to use this oil filter wrench. This one's made by Honda. Hopefully you can read the part number there. And while we're here, let's just get this oil filter ready to go. So just be careful, don't poke it so that you get plastic down in our new oil filter. But we want to just take a little bit of oil and lubricate the gasket here. Alright, using a short extension and our Honda oil filter wrench, we'll just go ahead and crack this loose. And it's going to start making a mess. We try not to make too big of a mess. Hot, hot, and we try not to drop it. Hot. Try to clean things up a bit. Alright, now we're going to do two things. We're going to take a clean rag and we're going to wipe our mating surface right here. And then while we're doing that, of course, whoops. Don't know if you saw that. I moved the camera, but while we're doing this, we're looking and making sure that our gasket didn't stay on there. Now that's just a good habit to do. Hondas don't typically have the gasket stay up here like that, because obviously we don't want to double gasket our oil filter, but Hondas are good about not doing that. But it's always a good habit. Double check, make sure you don't have a gasket on here, and clean the mating surface for our new filter. And get the one little stray drip. And I'll go ahead and spin our new oil filter on. And typically when you install these, what you do is you just turn it until you can't turn it anymore by hand. And that's good. Now, I used to only do that, but I don't have the hand strength that I once did, getting a little older. And so what I do is I just do that much. I tighten it that much. I mean, it was a hair. Barely moved it, but that's usually what I do. And I mean, that's what I did to this old one. So the one that I took off, I did exactly what I just showed you. So that's usually how I do all the Hondas nowadays. I just barely crank it, and that seems to work just fine, and it's only because I can't turn these things like I used to. Alright, now we'll take our drain bolt with our new washer and get it reinstalled. We'll just clean it up a little bit. And I'll just get it snug like that, and then we'll properly torque it. Alright, the torque specs for our drain bolt, 30 foot-pounds. Yeah, 30.2. We'll make sure we got all of our mess cleaned up. We'll go ahead and get this cover reinstalled. So we just need to put it like that and then turn it the opposite way of the arrow about a quarter turn, and that'll hold it in place. You don't want to force these things. You will break the little clip inside there. And there we go. Alright, we'll double check our work. We got the cover back on. We know we snugged up our oil filter. We got that torqued. Now, we'll get our pan out of the way and all of our tools. Now, I always recommend disposing of used oil and the filter properly. Out here, there are places where we can bring the oil and they'll recycle it. Sometimes they'll also take used oil filters like this. Out here, if I puncture it, and I think this is true in most areas of the country, but you would have to check your local areas. But you can punch it and then let it drain for 12 to 24 hours. And then once it does that, then you can throw it away with your normal trash. But that's what I do out here. Now you're supposed to do that while it's hot. So as soon as I take it off, I punch it, let it drain for, usually I just let it drain till the next day, and then I can throw it out. All right, now we'll get this thing back on the ground. To do that, I'm gonna do just the opposite of lifting it up. Put the jack in there, lift it up, get my jack stands out. I'll start to lower it, and then I'll put the other jack in place to keep it up a little bit so I can get the other jack out, and then we'll lower that one all the way down to the ground. Usually as you're lowering it, as soon as the tire touches the floor, then we can go ahead and put our jack up here in place. And I'll just put just a little pressure on it. So now it raised it up just a hair, so I know that we're on this jack now. Now we can go ahead and put this one all the way down, and it gives us enough access to get the jack out. We'll go ahead and pull our wheel chocks before we forget. All right, now let's get this thing filled back up with oil. I usually use a funnel like this. This one's made by Lyle. There's the part number here. Now, obviously, I don't get anything from showing you the tools that I use. Maybe a tiny bit on Amazon if you clicked on the links, but I really don't get anything from that stuff. I just like to show you the tools that I like to use, and this is one of them. So I'm going to be using that to help put the oil back in this thing. So for these Hondas, I use this cap and, of course, the funnel. So we'll just take our cap, put it over here, and install this cap. And here's how much oil it'll take. At oil change, including filter, is going to be 3.7 US quarts, or 3.5 liters. So that's how much we'll put back in. That's pretty standard for all these 1.5 liter engines that Honda has. Alright, I have this jug filled up with 3.5 liters, or 3.7 US quarts of brand new engine oil. Of course, we're going with what's supposed to be in this vehicle of 0W20. Now this is a higher mileage vehicle, starting to get older, so we're going with the high mileage, full synthetic stuff. That really doesn't matter too much. Just make sure you put the right viscosity in there. I know some people will change the viscosity on these engines, and if that's something you want to do, go for it. But of course, this isn't my car. We're going to do it by the book. So we're putting 0W20 back in. And we'll clean the old oil off the dipstick before we put brand new stuff in there. And we'll go ahead and pour our new oil in. Now, I'm going to run the vehicle for about 3 minutes, and then I'm going to shut it off and check the oil level, but my habit is to always check the oil level first after I do a service. It's just, you know, kind of a safety thing, so that in case I got sidetracked and was doing something else, we're not firing this vehicle up with no oil in it. And of course it's going to be too high because we haven't circulated the oil around, but we're good. We have oil in there. Now we can go ahead and fire it up. Now before I fire it up, I'm going to reset our maintenance minder. On this vehicle, you can do it here. Sometimes you got to do it through a scan tool. But you can see we're at 30% with a B13. So all the service is done on this vehicle. So make sure before you reset it that you've actually done all those. And we want to do all due items. So we'll just do that. And reset complete. So now we can see our oil life is at 100%. So now we can fire it up and we're going to let it run for about 3 minutes. Wait, I need to open the garage. I don't want to smoke myself out. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and start the vehicle and let it run 3 minutes. All right, it's been running for about 3 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and shut it down, and then we'll let it sit for 5 minutes before we check the oil level. And while we're waiting, now's a great time to check the fluids and the tire pressure. If you do need to adjust the tire pressure, just remember these things have an indirect TPMS system, so it needs to be initialized if you change the tire pressure. Now these 1.5 liter turbo engines suffer from oil dilution, so that's something to keep in mind when you're deciding on how long you should wait between oil changes. Alright, it's been about 5 minutes. Now you gotta remember, the oil hasn't had a chance to fully settle all the way down to the oil pan, but we should be pretty close. We should at least be above the halfway mark in between the two dots. And hopefully you could tell we're at about right there, just a little bit below that top dot. So we're good to go. Well, that's it for this one. And as always, if the video helped you out or you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.